Good evening, YouTube. My name is Amos Bro, and for this video we are doing a first impressions. We haven't done one of these in a while, but first of two series that have a second season that we are looking into air tonight, and in this case it was Psycho-Pass's second season. This, by the way, in case you're wondering, is Season 1, Part 1, Episodes 1 through 11, which, by the way, this season, according to the information I have off of myanimelist.com, it is an 11-episode season. I don't know how I feel about that. Like, okay, it worked for Terror and Resonance, but that one, you know, you kind of knew where the story was going to go eventually. This one, man, is it going to be unpredictable. If the ending of episode 1 was any indication. So, here's the deal. We still have our enforcer, our inspector, Akane Tsunemori. She agreed, even though she's not totally with it, to abide by the civil system. That was the system that determined whether or not a person could live or die. For those who have not seen my my series review, or season review rather, of season 1, I'll put the link in the description, but here's a primer. A person has what is called a psychopass. That it is essentially almost like gauging a person's psychological nature as well as maybe their conscience. Because if it's clear, you really can't do anything to them. But when it gets clouded, that's when the Dominator, the judge, jury, and executioner of everyone in Tokyo, comes into effect. If a criminal has a psychopass and a crime coefficient less than 300, so we'll say about maybe 100 to 299, and if it is deemed necessary by the Dominator to act, the gun will go into a tranquilizer or a stun mode. However, if a criminal goes over 300 according to the crime coefficient, the gun will go into kill mode. You do not want it to go into kill mode, because you're not going to be seeing your next birthday. Akane Tsunemori doesn't necessarily believe that the civil system is 100% right. Let's be clear on this. She was convinced at the end of last season by her Dominator and the civil system that we need this system, unfortunately. So she's, for the most part, bound by it. Although she can find her own ways of getting around trying to kill people. Because remember, if it's over 300, she has to kill them. But if she can get it to knock down below that, she won't pull the trigger unless it's in stun mode. You get what I'm saying? So, one thing that were introduced in this season was a drug. And the drug is called, let's see here, Lacouse, Lacouse. Now what this drug supposedly does, if a person has a really bad crime coefficient, they could become a latent criminal, which would then, in turn, should they try to apply for the police, turn them into an enforcer as opposed to an inspector. Okay? Knowing this, there's a drug now, this, as we mentioned, called Lacouse, which supposedly can lower your coefficient so that you don't have to worry about becoming a criminal, latent or otherwise. Now, I have a feeling that this is going to become a bigger part of the story later. We were just introduced to it tonight. We also were introduced to a very explosive beginning and a very volatile ending. As our first caper dealt with an individual who liked to blow shit up, apparently. Where did I see that from? Oh yeah! Town Resonance! But this one was actually really well done also. And the fact that you have returning characters and you have new characters involved, like to see Genoza, okay, as an enforcer now, and he has to answer to the woman that he basically trained for all of season 1 and the 20 plus episodes that season went. It was kind of surreal, but at the same time he actually looks kind of cool without his glasses, which you get to see him with only once, and it's at the end of the very last episode of season 1, sadly. Hey, what can I say? I like the dude. He was probably him, and there was another guy whose name escapes me right now. There was virtually nobody on that cast I didn't like last season. Anywho, in this season, we were introduced to a new inspector. Actually, we're introduced to a couple. One is named Mika Shimosuke, and the other one is Riza Aongi. Now, Shimosuke is actually the one that Genoza has to go with. And he's basically taking orders from her now. Think about how goddamn surreal that is. Also, to see him actually putting on leather gloves, it's like, oh, he's about ready to fight somebody. It's also interesting to me, the way they started this. They started off hot. Like they didn't wait to build. They just said, "Fuck it, we gotta move," and they do, unfortunately, because according to the information I have, this season's only 11 episodes. To put that in perspective, that's the same number of episodes that Terran Resonance was, and it's aired in the same animation block on Fuji Television. Interesting. 11 episodes, and you have an entire fall and winter season to go through. Whew. Now, that could be a typo, and it could be longer than 11 episodes, because I also know for a fact that last season was remastered and redone in 11 episodes that were an hour long. So I know that for a fact. But this, as the information I have right now, this one is also 11. So you have 10 more after this one. Okay, what do we think of it so far? That's the question. It is the first episode, and it was really good. Especially when you see the scene at the scene before the credits and the scenes right after the credits, when things really start going. It makes you amped up and ready for next week. And believe me, if this is any indication of how well this is going to be, we're in for a blast. I don't care how short it is. However, what you don't want to see is you don't want to see characters rushed along. Like, alright, this is only episode 1, but we already have Shimazuki, I believe it was, Mika, who is already questioning Akane because of the way she handled the bomb guy. Which, if you saw the way the episode ended, it was mad chaos. Because, alright, do it. I hate to spoil the ending of the episode, but here's literally what happened. So, she's going through the one building to try and catch up to the bomb guy. Because she's trying to get his coefficient to go down below 300 so she doesn't have to kill him. Okay. Meanwhile, up in the other building, across from it, you have another inspector who's got his enforcer trained on the guy. Meanwhile, Genoza, who was ordered by Kane to go follow the guy, has his gun trained on him. And then meanwhile, on him, there's another person on a scaffolding walkway. Actually, there's like two people with their guns trained on him. It was literally a case of who was going to shoot who. Meanwhile, Kane's trying to get his coefficient to go down below 300 so she doesn't have to kill him, just stun him. Somehow, by the grace of God, she didn't off him. His coefficient went down to 299, 1 point below the kill threshold. It was insane. I watched it and I sat there and I went, now look at this scene, kids, because when you're watching it, it'll blow your fucking mind. And it did. It was probably one of the coolest scenes I ever saw. Because to watch somebody try to talk somebody out of basically fucking off and killing everybody. Meanwhile, you got a cop trained on killing this guy, an inspector trained on stunning the cop so he doesn't kill the person, two cops trained on him to try and keep from his age. It was one of the most bizarre chain reactions, but it was one of the coolest. And if we can... Now, mind you, that wasn't the actual end of the episode, because there was a little bit more. But there was so much done in that one scene that made me go, oh my god, this is going to be nuts. If this is any indication of the way the next bunch of episodes are going to go, I'm ready for season 2. You know? Do yourself a favor. First off, if you have not seen season 1, please do that. Please. It's 2 parts. Go see this season and then go watch this episode. You'll love it. I'm hoping, crossing my fingers on this one, that this season is just as unnerving as last season got. Now, it might be a little hard because if this is 11 episodes, that's going to be tough. But I don't doubt for a second that it can't be done. Excuse me, I don't doubt that it can be done because look at what Terror and Resonance did. That was 11 episodes long too. You know? Anyway, go check out season 1. Matter of fact, I'll put the review down below. And I will see you next Tuesday. Here's what we're going to do, by the way, just so you know. Next Monday and Tuesday, we are going to do Brothers Conflict. 2 weeks later, we are going to do what is it? We're going to do Diabolik Lovers. That's going to be a fact. So, be ready for that. And Thursdays, also go check out my blog on Thursdays because Psychopaths is the order of the day. So, you all have a great time, or a great day. I will see you next Tuesday. Take care, friends.